All right, we are now at hole number 3 at Palouse Ridge. You're going to be playing the black tees here. This is a 389-yard par 4. It is a dogleg left, but it is significantly different than most people will play this. And this is where we're going to set ourselves apart from everybody else. Because if you the black tees, I apologize, you can see that it looks like you need to play a draw here, because nobody wants to be down in here, right? Now, that is exactly what the architect wanted you to do. They wanted you to aim at that bunker on the left and draw it back, because it's a trap. Everything from that bunker, when we get out there, you will actually see comes down at almost a 30 to a 45-degree angle to the left. There are very few flat spots on that fairway. So if you hit a draw on that, everything will end up in the left rough over here. The other downside of hitting a draw here is if for some reason it does not draw. This cart path goes the entire length of this entire hole on the right side. And if you see that fence out there on the right side and all these trees here, that is not playable area. That is OB. That is a butterfly sanctuary and a natural habitat that they kept intact. This is what it looked like in 1827, 1847 when people came here. This is actually what the foliage looked like when we got here and took over this course to build this course. It was like that. And so they left a strip in between certain holes that actually is protected land so you could see. Now you can see that this is some deep, deep fescue, and it'll probably be deeper by the time you come. They're not going to mow it until then. And the reason they do that is they want it to be penalizing. Now, it looks like it continues all the way down the side, but it doesn't. Right off this ridge right here, it opens up. And there's some cattails way, way down in here, but this is all playable area. So what you want to do is you actually want to play directly at the pin right there and play a cut back in. That allows the ball to stay in the fairway, and it will leave you an uphill lie that you'll be able to attack this green coming at it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go show you this as we go down the fairway. You will actually see what it looks like bird's eye view, because most people will look at this hole and think they need to play a draw, and it sets you up for failure. If you play a draw and you end up on the left side, it brings into play the two very, very nasty bunkers green side that are off the left. It is a bad idea. Now, this is the flattest part of the fairway as we come into it. And this is if you hit a 100-yard shot. Most people will not hit a 100-yard shot. As you come up to this, you will see that everything drains to the left. Now, if you notice, it opened up. There's no real fescue over there at all. There's 50 yards, if not 100 yards to the left from where I'm at, and I'm pretty much middle of the fairway. Now, this is the bunker that you don't want to be in, and you can see how close it is to that fence. That fence is literally 10 yards, 15 yards off to the right of that bunker. So if you miss at all, you're in trouble. And you can see that this is the landing zone. So if you hit a draw, everything collects right down in there. And it's a bad, bad lie. It's nasty, nasty, and it brings in that leftmost thing. We want to land right in here, which will kick our ball to the right and leave us this little flat spot that is designed this way. Specifically, it is a flat spot that is literally 30 yards wide by 30 yards long. Everybody thinks they can land it here. There is another one right on top of that ridge, but the downside is that if you can carry that ridge, you will actually be down on the other side of this. There, it cuts back with the rough, and it's a big trench. And again, it brings in those leftmost bunkers that are very, very bad. I will bring those up coming. Now, from here, we are sitting at basically a 160 shot. That bunker is 170 from the back, 160 from the front. This is 160 yards into a green that starts here and goes back to the left at a 45-degree angle. Now, this green is actually one of the longest greens we have on the course because it's designed to take a draw shot and make it playable. He wanted you to have to play a draw shot into this hole to be significant. Now, if we come down here where most of the balls collect, I'm going to show you the angle that is a bad angle here. Now, let's look at the shot that you would have to take. And I'll come up here and I'll actually show you that it actually cuts back significantly. How narrow that fairway gets. And there's nothing but rough and uphill lie and nastiness right here. There's your fescue that starts coming back into play. But look at how much room there is between the fairway and that rough. or in that fescue, it opens up significantly. So we want to be away from this, because you can see from all the divots here, this is where most people play and they get it wrong. And you can see it's everywhere. This is where everybody ends up. And when you come to here, look at those bunkers. Now those bunkers are hiding the pin. The little bit of green that's actually right there is not actually green. It's collar. So you can't play into this because the wind is going to be at your back and you're not going to be able to cut a ball into there and significantly do it. Now, I will come up here and I'll show you the shot that we actually want. You're going to want a shot that actually traces this right side of the fairway and comes in. And I'll show you why as we come up here. As we come up to this hole, you will begin to see that it comes back to the left. The other thing about this hole is everybody assumes that it's uphill. It is slightly uphill, but because of the way it is designed, if you notice, there's a big ridge there that most people hit off, and then it comes down and then it comes back up. When you get the ball up in the air, you will feel the wind, and the wind will actually take it significantly more than you think. Now, in the prior holes, you have noticed that the pin or the bunkers were not daunting. They were not hard bunkers at all. They were good bunkers. This is where it changes. This is significantly harder. These are 5 to 6 foot slopes that you're going to hit up out of. And you notice that the green now has what we call harbottle. It's fescue that has grown into the face of the bunker. And that is a design aspect by Jim Harbottle, the guy that actually designed this course. And you can see this back one's even worse. So as you come up to this green, there's a little bit of space for thing, but that's a significant face with foliage that goes up over the top of it. And if you get caught in the face of that, there's no getting out of it. So these bunkers are significantly more daunting than the first ones. Same kind of sand, same big 45-degree slope. The face is wide open, but at the same time, it is a significantly hard bunker shot. I do not recommend it. The ideal play is if you see where the other card is from the guy in front of me here, you're going to bounce it off of this hill. You're going to play the angles of the course, which then flow right to this peanut-shaped green. Now, this is one of the longest greens we have. It is almost 40 yards long, if not 45. This is a middle pin, and you can see that everything comes off this ridge will actually go straight to that pin. If you hit it short here, it'll come right here. If you hit it, it undulates back to the pin. Everything comes to the middle of this green, with the exception of one spot. And generally speaking, I'm going to guess that right in this area is where the first day's pin is. The second day pin will probably be roughly where it's at. And then the third day pin will be the back pin, which is the hardest pin on this course to most people. But if you play it correctly, this is where we stand out above the rest. This is where we make our move. This hole right here, if you play it off that hill, everything will go straight to that pin location. If you play a cut, you will be in this little trough and it will not go anywhere. You will have an uphill putt, literally 360 degrees around you. So that being said, this is our approach hole. Now I have those balls in my pocket. I will show you what it does when we throw these off of this hill for that pin placement. So I'm going to throw, you can see how much farther left I am. I'm going to throw it right there. Now watch this thing. It's going to come straight back to me. Just like that. Now this is just throwing. This isn't me giving any kind of like speed to it like a golf club would. But here, this is my new favorite. If we come in from the left to the right, watch this. Everything feeds directly to that pin. Same thing for that back pin, especially if we're going for that back pin, they like to tuck it like right there. You just hit it off of this. Feeds right to it. Just like that. Now, that being said, now watch what happens if we end up left of this pin. I'm going to go right at the pin, okay? And it's going to move that way. That's right at the pin, and see how it fades away from there. Now I'm standing on the very, very front of the green, and I gave that a good toss. So you can get it there with a little right-hand spin. But if you try to come into this green at all and it's left, Watch what happens. That's coming into the left. Everything feeds right to that thick rough, that heart bottle. And I'll show you how close it is to the edge of this green. As you can see, this is me walking. You can't even see the sand yet. There it is. And you can see how far down that goes. Like it is significant foliage. And you can see my foot is right next to it and you can barely see it. And here's the line of rough, how far it goes up. And that's the apron, like literally a foot of apron. There's a couple little things here that go down in there if you're lucky, but that ball got all the way over here onto the apron, onto the uphill. But look how close it was to getting into this. And this stuff, if I put my foot in there, it's like Oakmont. You can't really see it. Now, that's the other thing I wanted to show you is I'm just going to take this, I'm going to drop this ball. It's gone. Okay, so that is going to be significantly harder as we move towards the round. Now, if for some reason we need to play a cut shot, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to play a high cut like that, get it up on that hill, and then it'll stay there. Well, that's a first. I've never seen it stay there. What we're going to do is we're going to play a high cut and try to get it up on that hill, and then let it come back. And you see, that first one I've never seen stay. It almost always comes back. But it gives us this backstop here that we can address. So that is the first 3 holes at Palouse Ridge Golf Club. And I hope that is helpful. And I'm going to send this off and upload it. And if you have any questions or concerns, please email me, text me, let me know. And I hope this helps. I'll see you later for 4, 5, and 6.